Hello, and welcome to Allegany County Library's Let's Get Lit. This is where we talk about exciting titles so you, our patrons, can know what to read next. We will be talking about hot new titles to the library and also still burning titles, which may be older but are ones we have loved. Let's Get Lit is available in video format on the ACLS YouTube as well as in podcast format on Apple, Google, and Spotify, so you can subscribe for updates when we release new episodes. Let's Get Lit will be bi-monthly, and we would love your feedback as we do this. Contact information will be in the description as well as at the end of the episode. Any titles mentioned will have links to our catalog in the description as well. Now, let's get lit.
I'm Allie.
I'm Shane.
I'm Liz.
I'm Laura.
Today's theme is going to be holiday-themed titles.
I'm talking about all things Christmas Carol today. So my three book recommendations are all retellings of that story. And the first one is a book called Marley by John Clinch. And it is really, really well done. It's one of my favorites. It talks about how Scrooge and Marley met, how they became friends, how they set up their business together, and it's just really good. If you like anything having to do with like Victorian England or anything having to do with Dickens in that era, it's really good. He also writes like a historical fiction author. He puts a lot of detail in it, so it's a really good retelling.
Is it a sympathetic portrayal of Scrooge, would you say?
There's more sympathy to Scrooge than Marley, because Marley's kind of cast as the guy that gets him in trouble.
Oh, okay.
And also, it's interesting because Marley has the chains, right? The money box has the chains, but they're kind of his portrayals. He's talking about, unfortunately, the slave trade that was happening in England. It had just been outlawed, I believe, finally in England. And so that's kind of how they're going with that, which is really interesting because it talks about that stuff. And he does a very good, like, it's not a silly read or a light read, but it's like I said, it's more of like a historical fiction take on it. But yeah, Marley's the star of the book. Who's next?
It's me.
Okay.
It is the newest Richard Paul Evans Christmas book in the Noel letters, in Noel series, but they're all different. And this is a love story, and everything ends happily ever after. It's the perfect read. It's the perfect read for these times if you want to smile.
Yeah,
Who wants to do that?
Me.
all of my picks
And my-
are feel-good picks.
My holidays aren't complete unless I read Richard Paul Evans. So
Yeah, all of mine are feel-good books.
What's going on?
It's a weird time.
Just wait.
I read the recent release In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, the author duo. It is a very feel-good kind of Christmas hijinks. If you're a fan of Hallmark movies, you'll probably be a fan of this. It is about a woman who, her family gets together in a cabin every year to celebrate with another family for Christmas, and she's been in love with one of the brothers her whole life, but she makes out with the wrong brother, and she gets a chance to redo it by right? She gets the chance to redo it by going back and reliving it, so it's got a little bit of the Groundhog Day type thing, but it wasn't over the top, like it wasn't repetitive, and of course it's just heartwarming.
I have a Shane Black double feature. Shane Black is a writer-director known for writing Lethal Weapon movies. Just bear with me. He also loves to set his movies during Christmas. So my first one is The Long Kiss Goodnight. It stars Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. Gina Davis is an amnesiac school teacher, and Samuel L. Jackson is a low-life private investigator whom Gina Davis has hired to dig into her own past. Things take a pretty wild turn when a car crash brings memories of her past life as a CIA operative flooding back in. It turns out a lot of people are not happy that she's alive, and she has to use all of her old skills to survive. The movie is hilarious and action-packed with Gina Davis absolutely killing it against type as an action star at a time when we never got movies with women in that kind of role. This is 1996. Anyone who likes Die Hard will appreciate the following similarities. The character running around in a white tank top laying waste to bad guys while trying to get back to the family. Witty one-liners, and the festive holiday setting in the film acts as a great juxtaposition to the brutal, violent plot, and it has great explosions. And it's available on Arena, because Hulu decided to get rid of it.
And you said Samuel L. Jackson is in that?
Oh, yeah.
Anything with some Samuel L. in it, I'm on board.
Second double feature, part of the double feature is a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
These have great titles, though.
Starring Robert Downey Jr. when he started his upswing into making great movies again. It's a neo-noir set in LA, and again takes place during Christmas. It's from the director Shane Black. He also did Iron Man 3, if you guys are familiar with that. It has the same blend of humor and action. So snappy dialogue, witty, and all the things that Robert Downey Jr. can juggle in his roles. This movie also features Val Kilmer. I think it's his best role, honestly, Val Kilmer. He gets a chance to be funny.
Better than Doc Holliday?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
I
It's
find
not
that
sweaty.
shocking. Shane, I find that shocking. I don't know.
If you like a twisty narrative with a dry comedic flair, check out Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That is available on Hoopla.
They sounded like they could have been feel good.
They are
Then
feel
you
good
said
for the
the
most
book.
part, but there's some brutal violence.
I mean, sometimes you need some violence so you can then feel good.
Yes.
You can't feel good if there's no thing to feel good after,
Right. I
right?
mean, you feel good with Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
These are the same.
Most
Feel
people
good.
say Die Hard is their favorite Christmas movie, so I mean, why not, right?
I'm not going to wade into those waters about whether or not Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
No. People are too. I've got better things to argue with Liz about than that. Right, Liz?
Right.
It's called, and I love this so much that, and Allie actually is the one who recommended it to me. I also am using it as my staff pick for December, is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. And Holly Chase is a Ebenezer Scrooge, and the ghost tried to change her. She does not change, and then she dies. So then she ends up not really being dead, but not really being alive, but working for this mysterious company who puts on the Christmas Carol each year with a new Scrooge. And she has to work at that until she can change her Scrooge, till she can move on. And it's set in modern times, and it's fantastic, it's lovely. I'd say anybody from like 13 on, it's technically a YA book, but anybody from like 12 or 13 on up can read it. It's lovely. And it's a really innovative retelling of A Christmas Carol. And I've read many of them, and it's in my top 5. It's a lovely read.
Well, A Christmas Carol. Everybody should read it. It's a Christmas classic.
It's the Christmas classic.
It is. And if it's not in the library, you can get it on Hoopla.
Oh, I'm sure there's.
Oh yeah, we have multiple
copies and
Yeah.
narrators and
My next pick is called Anna and the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Alright.
Where are you going with this, Shane?
We're all sick of zombie stuff, right? But hear me out, because this is a zombie Christmas musical. Okay?
I'm ready to
Okay.
sign up.
It's a really delightful film that takes a page out of the Shaun of the Dead World's End playbook,
Okay.
where the zombie kills are played for gags. The setting is high school, where the teens are initially too self-absorbed to notice that their town has devolved into a zombie hellscape. So they're worried about like how the apocalypse is affecting their favorite celebrities rather than their immediate danger.
Oh, that's great.
Makes great use of the characters who are too overwhelmed by emotion to speak but must sing to express themselves. Musical trope. Moves along at a really brisk pace, and the soundtrack is really good. It doesn't slow down the movie. It really works to its benefit for these characters. The library has the DVD, and the soundtrack is on Hoopla.
Okay, I can get on board with that one.
Yeah.
All right, so my last book recommendation is called Lost by Gregory Maguire. He's one of my favorite authors. I really enjoy him. Lost is about a character whose great grandfather was supposedly the inspiration for the character of Ebenezer Scrooge. And so she has all things like Christmas Carol happening, but she actually lives in America, but she ends up traveling to England, and there's a whole bunch of other backstory going on, which I'm not going to get into, and she ends up living in a flat that is supposedly haunted by the ghost of Jack the Ripper. You've got these two worlds, Ebenezer Scrooge and Jack the Ripper, colliding into a personal drama that is happening in her life. And it really does evolve into the ghost story-like theme of A Christmas Carol, but it's just, there's all kinds of Fezziwig references and Christmas Carol references and Jack the Ripper references, which I'm on board with both of those things. But yeah, it's great. It's very different, But if you're looking for something different, you will enjoy it. And yes, we do have it. I believe it's on Overdrive, and we also have the print copy of it. I didn't check to see if we have an audio.
I have a book that has not come out in the system yet. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. But it is out. It came out in November, and it's called The Golfer's Carol by Robert Bailey. And it's like It's a Wonderful Life and Field of Dreams.
Oh.
So kind of goes in that direction. And I'm waiting for it to come out, so look for it.
Okay, so we will be getting it.
It has been ordered, yeah.
I recently finished A Christmas Date. It's on Hoopla. There's the ebook and audiobook. Again, feel good, Hallmark type story, but it is about a woman who is sick of her family thinking that she's a workaholic and that she's single. So she hires a boyfriend for Christmas. And of course, things ensue. You know how it ends, but it's still just a really good time.
A nice peaceful read at this time of year. A nice
Yes. I was looking for things that I did not have to concentrate very hard on and just made me feel good.
It's the season.
Yes.
All right, with that in mind, my next pick is on Canopy, which is a streaming service you should check out if you haven't yet. And the movie's called Black Christmas, and I'm going to level with you. This is a slasher movie set during Christmas. It's directed by Bob Clark, who directed the classic Christmas Story. And this is credited as the first slasher movie. During their Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger.
Of course they are.
It stars the underestimated Margot Kidder, who we'll know from Lois Lane and Superman movies.
Yeah.
This is extremely scary and has often been imitated but never equaled. What makes this movie even more special is it has the same look, almost identical look as A Christmas Story, because it comes from the same cinematographer, and it looks like it was shot in the same neighborhood as both films were shot in Ontario, Dublin for their American locations. I'll just leave you with the review from a recent viewer of this film on Canopy who says, "I thought I'd have a fun evening with a campy slasher film, but got seriously freaked out instead. This is not cheesy like Friday the 13th and even more unsettling than the first Halloween. Don't know why it took me so long to see this one. I thought I was a true horror fan. This one will stick with you." I will say that you should watch this and then watch A Christmas Story and see if you still like A Christmas Story.
Did they remake that
Yes.
or try to remake it
Twice now.
twice now?
Mhm.
It's weird because I was just reading a book that referenced Played by Heroines, which references
Black
that
Christmas.
film.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. They haven't done it quite as well.
Right.
Yeah. It is not light. And you can't forget about it.
Start again.
So do we want to Christmas Carol fight?
Okay. So I am, like I said, this is all things Christmas Carol, and I am a huge fan of all of the compilations of it and all of the different movie remakes. So I'm going to give you my top 5 Christmas carols, starting with number 5. Number 5 is the animated Disney's Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey starring as Scrooge. And when I heard they were remaking, it was Bob Zemeckis, I believe, which if you know, it's great. It's great. But when I first heard that Jim Carrey was playing Scrooge, I was like, I wonder how that's going to go. But he does a great job. So it is a lovely telling of the story. It actually is a little scary in parts that you wouldn't think for a Jim Carrey cartoon about a Christmas
Might
Carol.
get a little motion sickness.
It was one of my
too.
Yes, I did get motion sickness. Now I've just announced how old I am. But when they're going through the city with a camera.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 4 is another Disney classic, Mickey's Christmas Carol, which Donald Duck has a stunning performance as his nephew, Fred. Mickey, of course, is Bob Cratchit. Minnie is Mrs. Cratchit. And Uncle Scrooge, Scrooge McDuck, of course, plays Ebenezer Scrooge. And it came out when I was like 6 or 7. And it's lovely. It has a lovely Christmas song, and it just reminds me of being a kid.
And it's short.
It's very short. It's like, 15, 20
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah.
It's lovely. For number 3 is A Muppet's Christmas Carol. Michael Caine plays Ebenezer Scrooge. Rizzo the Rat and Gonzo are Charles Dickens.
Now,
and
how
his
would
son.
people know Rizzo the Rat and Gonzo from what else have they been in?
Well, the Muppets. The Muppets, Shane. I can't think of any other stuff. The Muppets. Of course, you've got Kermit the Frog as Bob Cratchit. Miss Piggy has an impactful performance as Mrs. Cratchit.
Powerful.
Powerful, to say the least. So yes, it's just lovely. The soundtracks are lovely.
Beaker's in it too.
Beaker and Bunsen. I mean, watch the scene when Beaker and Bunsen. I'm just gonna say, watch Beaker very carefully as he's exiting Scrooge's shop.
Can you do a reenactment of the?
I cannot, and I'm not gonna give it away because you need to just watch. But Beaker's not happy when he's leaving Scrooge's shop. That's all I'm gonna say. Give it a watch.
The parts are perfectly recast by the Muppets. Like
They
picked
are.
the perfect Muppet to do each role.
Yes.
I will say that if you have a chance, seek out the one that has the song in it in the middle. The Scrooge and his bride-to-be song,
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
which
Yes.
was excised from later cuts of the movie once
Oh, I
the
didn't
management
know that.
changed in Disney. Yeah, they took out that scene and try to find it still on YouTube.
Oh, because also like the songs really are lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very touching. Number 2 of the Christmas Carol is the Hallmark version with Patrick Stewart. Everybody would know Patrick Stewart from Star Trek: The Next Generation. He's Jean-Luc Picard, and it's probably the most faithful to the book, the Patrick Stewart version. It's lovely. It's got a great cast, great setting, great ghosts. But it really does, like, all the parts that the book goes through, like when Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present are going out into the world to see all the different celebrations of Christmas. That movie, the Patrick Stewart one, gives the most faithful rendition for how that goes. And the only reason that it's number 2 is because I grew up watching George C. Scott in A Christmas Carol, which comes in obviously at number 1. There's no other choice for that spot. The only thing that's inferior to the Hallmark one with George C. Scott is he does not have a British accent. So Scrooge does not have a British accent, but you don't notice it because everything else is so phenomenal. The score, the setting, the actors, the ghosts. The Jacob Marley in that is by far the best Jacob Marley. He's actually scary. George C. Scott in A Christmas Carol is actually a little dark. It does definitely go a little to the ghost, the darker side of things, but Scrooge's redemption is so pronounced in this version that it's just, that's why I think it's so impactful. Like it is, him being a jerk in the dark side of things is really pronounced there. So when he does make his reformation, it's really pronounced, and all of the cast is wonderful. What is your favorite, Shane, out of my five?
Well, I love Muppets Christmas Carol, but I have a real soft spot in my heart for the 1938 one.
Oh, is it the one with the tougher hair on?
Yes, Liz.
That is the worst.
I could never find it in the library, so I own it.
Gee, I wonder why you
already-
couldn't find it in the library.
I already
Let me
watched.
just say how great that is.
Yes.
It's a superior.
Shane, you're not even being
Honestly.
serious right now. He has a tuft of hair. Scrooge has a tuft of
I'm
hair.
sorry.
And it has British accents.
It does. It is one of my favorites, and I already binge watched. I've watched 3 so far. I watched the old one.
Mhm.
I watched
The
the
horror
one with Jim Carrey and the Hallmark with Patrick Stewart. But some of my favorites are It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street.
The original?
Yes.
Okay, because the remake
Everything's
are.
original.
Okay, good.
The original.
The remake's so stupid.
A Christmas Story.
I wanted to give a quick plug for a movie that's set during Christmas, but it's not strictly about Christmas. It came out a few years ago called Hugo, based on the book we mentioned, Hugo Cabaret. A lovely story that takes place in a train station about an orphan boy, basically finding a new family, but it has the same kind of sweeping camera movements that you were talking about in the animated, or the Bob Zemeckis Christmas Carol. Real live action camera movement. It's not CGI, so it's not as jarring, I don't think.
It's jarring in
Yeah.
A Christmas Carol.
But it has the same kind of feeling and atmosphere as a Christmas movie, and it's all about, like I said, finding a new family. It's about acceptance, and it's about movies. If you love movies, it's just kind of like a love letter to movies.
Wow, Shane, that's downright holly jolly for you.
Well, I'm going to utter this next sentence, and I may be murdered, so take note of who's around me.
No, what is going to happen?
But I hate A Christmas Carol.
That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
It is probably my least
How can you
favorite.
hate a
She's
Christmas
hating
Carol?
redemption stories. She wants people to die.
Well, my
She
favorite.
just picked every book she picked was a Hallmark movie in book form, and you hate a Christmas Carol. Have you read it?
My favorite Christmas movie is A Year Without a Santa Claus. I'd have some weird thing for those clay figures.
Well, no, those are awesome. But
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you look at Santa's hands, in one scene they'll be fine, and the next scene his fingers are like black from dirt. From them like shifting them around and stuff.
I don't
But-
pay that much attention.
That one's my favorite. Heat Miser and Snow Miser are just, they're like one of my all-time, like, two favorite
That's like that-
characters.
That's like the Puffin stuff. What was that show? H.M. Puffin stuff?
HR folks.
That's like the H.R. Puffin stuff of Christmas cartoons, Allie. I don't know what to say.
Those are my favorites.
That's it. I'm getting a TV in here and we're
These
gonna
are a few of her favorite things.
But now, one of my
We're gonna
favorites,
get into that song.
cheesy, I think actually, well, Freeform it would be now, but ABC Family originally did it, and it was Mistle-Tones,
Oh my
which
god.
is a singing
The hits just keep on coming.
What is that? Missile what?
Mistle-Tones. It's a singing competition. It has, I think it's Tia Mowry, but it also has, yeah. It has, Tori Spelling is like,
Oh,
You don't
there
like
you
a
go.
Christmas story? You don't like a Christmas Carol? Any of the renditions, but you like something with Tori Spelling in it?
she plays the villainous type in it.
Oh, really? I bet she was reaching deep for that.
Obviously, it has definitely been singing for real.
I don't know
But
what's
it's just a
happening
good
right
I
now.
don't know, you know what?
Allie, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get over this. Mistle-Tones? Mistle-Tones?
Yes. I come home and sometimes Brian is watching it by himself.
What goes on in your house?
It's just so good. You can't help but like sing and dance along.
Yeah, I would definitely not sing and dance along. I can tell you that much.
So we all have our very specific personal preferences for Christmas fans.
So that was it for our holiday themed titles. As you can see, it was quite heated.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all watch A Christmas Carol, not Jingle Tones, or whatever she says.
Anyway, happy holidays, and we will see you in the next one.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas!
Thank you for joining us for Let's Get Lit. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. If you have any questions, suggestions, or want recommendations, please contact us either in the comments section, by giving us a call, or by emailing us at letsgetlit@AlleganyCountyLibrary.info.